Welcome back to Little to Large Music Studio and Arrangements. Again, I guess, your host and main instructor, of course, Alex Little. As you can see, again, we have my eldest daughter here. We have Jay Little. And if you followed our first video, which was very uh, relaxed, I'm trying to keep these relaxed because I'm focused on her, but I'm also doing this for anybody that will be watching so that this is helpful to you. Uh, so Jade is learning how to play the piano, which I'm giving her basic instruction on. And I am a woodwind player, and so I'm giving uh, basic instruction as well on the clarinet. And that's what we have out at this time. And I feel far more comfortable in the space of the clarinet and woodwinds than I do the piano, but we're doing that as well. And that's going to be just fine. And then when she gets better and beyond my teaching ability, I will pass her off to one of my great colleagues. And I do have a good amount of those. And feel free to ask any questions if you have, a need for that as well. If it's basic instruction, that's something I can handle. All right. So with that being said, um, so we have our clarinet here, and we're going to do a couple of things. Um, go through a couple of our pieces first. So as you see, I have a clarinet mouthpiece. Okay. I have what's called a ligature. This holds on a reed. Oftentimes for beginners, ligatures will be silver, even on saxophone, and I'll address that in a separate video. That's my primary instrument. Okay. This is a Ravna ligature. All right, it's kind of the end all be all for woodwind instruments that are single reed instruments. All right. And so of course we will put our ligature on our mouthpiece. Okay, and eventually we will put our reed under that ligature there, if you can see that. All right. I'm going to sit this kind of to the side here. We're going to talk about our clarinet pieces. All right. We have our upper joint here. You can see our upper joint. Okay. All right. And we have our lower joint here with our thumb rest there. I'm trying to keep my hand away from all of the springs and the keys. And so you're going to see me take the upper joint and the lower joint and stay away from grabbing on those springs. I'm not clasping down on them. I don't want to do that. All right. And you're going to see me gently put them together. All right. And gently twist and push them together without clasping down on them, because we'll bend a rod in doing that, or a key, and our instrument will not play, or they'll squeak. And that's the first thing when we go to our directors or we're playing and we say, oh, something's wrong. I get like these ugly squeaks and these ugly sounds. And we don't understand what's going on. It's because the key is not closing down to the hole, or correctly being sealing up the hole and things like that. And so I guess I can do a whole nother video on maintenance, and that will fall under maintenance. I'm going to take the bell. Just about, as I tell my students, every instrument has a bell, which is this big open side. It looks like a ding dong, like a bell that you would kind of shake. And this is where the sound comes out, but this is a woodwind instrument. And so they're built different in brass. Of course, the sound really comes out of these tone holes that we see here. The sound comes out of these versus just the bell on something like a trombone or trumpet rather, and things like that. So we're going to take this lower joint. We're going to press down on this last key here, okay, with our thumb. And again, we're not going to clasp the spring and the rods. We don't want to do that, if you can see it in the video. I'm going to take it, gently twist the bell onto the lower joint. Okay, gently twist the bell onto the lower joint. All right, only holding that key firmly but gently. And now we have, almost about 3/4 of a clarinet put together, or should I say 4/5, because this thing has an extra piece. All right, so we'll take it. We're going to take our barrel here. Barrel doesn't have any keys on it. we're going to take our upper joint and stay away from the rods. Stay away from the rods. Stay away from the keys. I'm not pressing them in. And we can gently twist this barrel, if we can see it in the frame. Twist this barrel there so that it's on. So we want to stay away from those keys unless we're using them. That's when we want to press them down, when we were actually using them. And we have ourselves our clarinet. All right. I tell my students, my beginning students, and it may not be the best policy, but I find it easiest for beginners to get. Keep your upper joint keys to the left hand. The left hand works on the top side, the upper joint, okay? Keep those in alignment with the lower joint keys first when you put that instrument together. And eventually you'll notice that you do want to twist it a little bit to really get that lower joint to seal down so that it presses all the way in. But that's kind of, that straight line is the easiest thing for a beginner to get. I noticed in my band room over the years. Simple things like straight lines is something the student can get. Eventually you can get into the nuance of, okay, it's not closing as well, so let's twist it a little bit, you know, or you're twisting it, you know, to get a more open sound and things like that. Depending on how this key back here may be sealing and things like that, how it may be sealing or bending and things like that. It could be bent a little bit. All right. So try to start with a straight line. And then also for comfort, each individual player is slightly different. All right. We can talk about twisting it a little bit to play it better and to play it more accurately. With all instruments, especially woodwinds, you want to have this sort of backward C to when we play the instrument. We want to have that posture with those keys, with both hands, left and right. Okay. The clarinet should go no further. The bell of the clarinet should go no further out than your knees in a straight line coming across. It should not be out here. It should not be in here all the way into the growing area, to the inside of the legs. It should be just at about the kneecaps. That's where you want to hold that clarinet at, and you want to have those elbows not way out from the body, but not clasped down, not closed down on your belly. You want to have them out away from the belly comfortably, but so that you can breathe and you can sit up straight with a straight back. I'll do a whole nother video on posture, and have that bell of the instrument pushing the instrument out in kind of a sort of, I guess, a 45-degree angle toward the ground. And so this is the posture you want to play with that clarinet in, with the back being straight, the chin being up, and the feet being flat on the floor. We're not taping our feet at this time. All right, at that point in time, you just kind of want to rest. That was a playing position. And then you also want to rest it with the keys up in the air, close to the body, but across the lap. So that's the best area to not injure your reed, which I haven't gotten into, or your clarinet, your keys, hit other people that may be sitting alongside you in your band room or elsewhere that you may be. All right. And you also want to rest your instrument down like that on the seat when you walk away from it. Now, some people do have a different policy of taking the upper joint and barrel and mouthpiece off from the lower joint and bell, and then sitting that in the chair. So there's a different kind of way to do that, if that's the way your teacher is teaching. I don't generally leave my students with that instruction, but it's not necessarily a bad instruction. It's kind of a different instruction in my mind. So hopefully you've enjoyed this lesson with us. We will see you back here again, as we will cover again basic piano practices, as well as continue to cover basic clarinet practices at this time before we talk about any other instruments. And it's been fun. Any questions or concerns, put those in the comments, send those messages to me. And especially for those aspiring students who would like to have one-on-one instruction, that would be great. Message me and we'll see if we have a space in the studio.
Hi, whoever's watching. If it's someone in my family.
Tell them have a good day.
Have a good day.